Hi, this is John Mallett. I am the president and founder of Main Street Mortgage. I'm grateful to be with you today for a few minutes, and the purpose of my visit today is to give you some ideas about making the home buying process not only easier with a lot less hassle, but also to make it a transformative experience, something that is really special that can help you in years to come as well. And if you're buying a home for the first time, whatever you do, don't despair. You might be interested to know that Fannie Mae did a survey that showed that 40% of everybody who rents can actually buy a home, but they don't know it. And so we're going to give you some material today and some ideas whether you own a home or you're buying another home, whether you're moving up or down, or whether you're buying your home for your first time. And before I get into the specifics of home ownership, which is outlined in my book called Mortgage Money Secrets, that'll be coming out in the next couple of months, I want to go over a little bit of a background that I think will be really helpful to you. The book that I've been working on for quite some time really outlines three general areas. The first area is that home ownership is a sacred trust. And what that means is if you treat home ownership as something sacred, it basically means that you're going to make good decisions throughout the course of the time that you hold that home. For example, instead of going out and getting a second mortgage to start a business, what you would do, instead of getting a lot of credit for that, you would go out and raise money on an individual basis from friends and family. To give you an example, we have a client of mine who had equity arise in the home. There was enough equity. He decided to take out $75,000. And so he did it from his home. And in 5 years, the business failed, and his marriage was really stressed as a result of that extra money that was taken out, because now he had to figure out a way to pay that back, and he didn't have the income to do that. And so that's an example of really not being very thoughtful about what the property can do for you in the future, because once your home becomes free and clear, you have no mortgage payments on it whatsoever. It's a wonderful way to be able to have an abundance of financial wealth and prosperity. The second couple, what they did was they also needed $75,000. But instead of taking the equity out of the home, they decided that they would raise it from friends and family. And what was interesting is that they had to put together a business plan to do that. And so the business had to become very vetted. The people had to really look at it to see if it was really going to succeed. And so my client took a lot of time and effort in preparing the business, and sure enough, he was able to get about $7,500 from 10 individuals, and the business is thriving. And what's interesting is if the business did not do well, it would have been a loss for each individual of $7,500, which really wouldn't have hurt anybody that much or made that big of a difference in the quality of their life, but it would have made a big difference not having that $75,000 as a second mortgage. And more important than that, they had a much more successful business. And so this idea of thinking of your home as something sacred, as a trust, it's really important to think of it like that, because then you'll make good decisions based on that concept. The second ideal that I talk about in my book is the concept that home ownership can empower and encourage and engender a marriage relationship, and either with your spouse or with your lifetime partner. And the idea behind it is that when I'm signing clients at escrow, at the close of escrow, they're signing their loan documents, they're ready to move in within the next couple of days. We're in the process of closing their loan. And I'll give you an example of couple A and couple B. Couple A sits down at the table, and the first thing that they say is, this is a big mortgage, we're never really going to pay this off. And they don't really have a strategy, they don't really have an idea of why they're buying, except that they don't want to rent, they don't want to throw their money away renting. So that particular concept they have down pretty good. But that's about it. Versus the couple that I sit down with, and I've been through hundreds of signings for loan documents, and they sit down and the first thing they say is, we're going to pay off this mortgage. Whether it takes us 20 years or 30 years, whatever it is, we're going to pay it off. And we're going to work together to pay it off because it's a legacy of something that we want to leave for our family and for our children. Now, the question I have for you is, out of those two couples, couple A and couple B, which of the two couples do you think has the best prospects to have an empowered relationship and to actually even stay married for a long period of time. Well, it's been my personal observation, as I've done this for the last 25 years, that couple B has the best chances of staying married and in the relationship for a long term. And it's not so much because they're making their house the foundation of their marriage, rather they're making an ideal of something that they have to work together to achieve. And so it's not just the idea of saying, well, we're going to pay it off without knowing how. They actually put together a strategy, and they say, we're not going to get a second mortgage. We're going to be very careful. If we can make extra principal payments, we're going to do that. And the idea is they're working towards a common goal that is bigger than they are. Their purpose is strong, and they know that they're going to have to really pay attention to achieve that goal. And so what it does is, the funny thing is it implies that they're going to be married or together for a long time. And we don't often articulate that, but I've found that when couples do articulate it, and they do say, yeah, this is something that we want for our family and for our legacy, then all of a sudden, this ideal of home ownership, whether they own a home or they're moving into a new one, or whether they're refinancing or that's a first-time home buyer, sets the tone for their entire relationship throughout their entire lives. It's really a beautiful thing that I've been able to observe with those clients. Now, the third reason that I talk about in my book is the idea that you don't have to be breathing through a straw at 29,000 feet in order to qualify for a mortgage. Actually, getting a mortgage today is really not that tough. A lot of lenders make it hard because it's so much tougher than what it used to be. For example, when I did loans 5 or 6 years ago, before what's called the credit or subprime meltdown, we would get an approval. The approval would have 5 to 10 conditions. We would satisfy those conditions, go to documents, and the loan funds. Piece of cake, no issues whatsoever. Well, now instead of 5 to 10 conditions after a loan is approved, there are about 40 to 45. And so as a result of that, it's a lot more intense in time and in preparation in order to be able to close the loan. It takes more time. There are more conditions. There is no question that we have to jump through more hoops to get that. But the key is who you work with. The key is the loan officer you're working with somebody who's really competent and has a great organization in back of them. It's pretty interesting. As a buyer of a home, you can go directly to the seller. Now, oftentimes, I don't think that's a good idea. I always advocate working through a real estate agent. But if you wanted to, you could actually go to the seller themselves and negotiate something. Well, when you're going out and getting financing for mortgage financing, you can't do that. You have to go through somebody. There is somebody that has to represent you as an intermediary between you and the source of the cash who's going to give you the money for that loan. And so who you work with is imperative as far as the ease with which the transaction takes place. If you work with somebody who really doesn't have your best interest at heart and may not have the competency or the skill, then you may find that going through the process of refinancing or purchasing your home is a really tough experience. They always come back for conditions, they continually ask for conditions, and they don't really give you all of the information up front so you know exactly what's going on. Versus the loan officer, or what we call the loan professional, mortgage professional, who really can give you not only all the information up front so there are less surprises down the road, but also experienced at the conditions to ask you for so they don't have to keep coming back. See, the key in a good loan officer is that they will know within 5 to 10 minutes whether or not they can get you a loan. And if they say that they can get you a loan, they will do it. So it's critical to work with somebody who knows what they're doing. Now, what I've done is that I've made available to you the first chapter of my book. I'm going to give it to you as a bonus for taking the time to listen to my scrambling today. And I think that it's a great chapter. I think that you'll enjoy it. I'd love your feedback on it. All you have to do is click on the link, put in your name and email address, and you'll get it immediately. I would love your feedback. I'd love your observation about it, your thoughts, and I'd love to hear from you. Anything that I can do to help you in preparation to buy your home, and any questions I can answer on mortgage financing, please let me know. The best of success to you and your loved ones.